OGR, as today we got a big old episode for Game 38 as the Edmonton Oilers finally won a game where they deserve to fucking win. Let's go, boys. Woo, baby. That's what I'm talking about, boys. Finally, a game where the Oilers played amazing and they deserve to win. It wasn't like the Calgary game where we definitely did not deserve to win and we actually just walloped the Vancouver Canucks. Now, this is a team for the Vancouver Canucks that are very weak. They definitely did not have 100% of a lineup. They were missing Horvat, Garland. I think they were also missing somebody else as well. They were a pretty depleted lineup. So now this is not a huge victory, but this is a huge stepping stone. And the fact that we were just whipping shots, we had 50 shots on the night. You know, we do need to talk about our finishing ability, though, actually being able to score goals, put goals in the back of the net. I think it's one of our biggest issues right now is that we have no big actual goal scorers on the team, and we're going to get into that much later on as well. But honestly, amazing game by the Edmonton Oilers, and the Vancouver Canucks was almost saved by Spencer Martin, who was just absolutely massive for the Vancouver Canucks the entire night. And the Canucks almost pulled off a victory just because of that fact. Pettersson and Mott took advantage of some easy goals, especially the breakaway that we gave up to Mott. But the Vancouver Canucks, they didn't play that amazing of a game. The Oilers really dominated that sheet of ice. We were getting a lot of offensive zone time. We were cycling that puck around. We were taking a lot of shots, which I like to see. It's just we weren't able to put a whole lot of goals in the back of the net because of the fact that Spencer Martin was insane. And we'll talk about our finishing ability. But before we get into that, I'd like to just say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to slap that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. That'll be very much appreciated as we're on the road to 800 subscribers. So if you can help out, that'll be very much appreciated, boys. So let's get into this puppy with the Canucks and Oilers as we finally pull away with our 20th win of the season and actually chalk it up 2 wins in a row, which is really nice because we definitely need to get some wins back in that W column because of the fact that we went like 2-11-2 in that, that stretch of games there. We definitely need to bounce back a little bit and get some W's. We need to, go on a little bit of a winning streak, and it's a good time to do that. We have Nashville coming up, which is going to be a hard game, but then we have Montreal and Ottawa, which I think we can easily take advantage of those games, and we absolutely need to. We need to take advantage of every single one of those games and hopefully, walk away with some big dubs. So let's get into talking about this game. So first up, Elias Pettersson gets a big goal to start off the game. But actually, before we get into that, before we get into the, second period, the first period, I totally forgot about the first period. I'm just skipping all that past that one. Now the first period, not a lot happened, to be completely honest with you. Is pretty even between both teams. The Oilers had a really good finish to that first period, though. I do give them that. They really finished off the period good, and that kind of gave us some momentum going into the second period, even though we didn't generate a whole lot of offense into that second period either. Our best period, without a doubt, was the third period, and I mean the first 2 periods were pretty quiet between both teams up until the end where Vancouver got the 2 big goals. Like, we were generating chances, we were getting a lot of puck possession, we just weren't capitalizing on a lot of the chances that we did have. And, we were, cycling the puck around. And a big thing that I noticed with this team, and Perlo would agree with me, is that we kept cycling the puck. It's really weird what we continue to do in that offensive zone. We do get a lot of chances. Like, if you look at moneypuck.com, make sure to go check out that website. I use a lot of the analytics for these videos. But you look at, the money puck, we had a lot of good chances in the front of the net, of course. Like, we did have a decent amount of chances. Of course, a lot of the chances did come from the point as well. But the biggest thing is that we weren't able to put those pucks in the back of the net. When we did have a really good chance in front, we just weren't able to throw it in the back of the net. Either the puck was bouncing or we just totally missed the net wide. And I think that's a big thing, is that we do got to start hitting the net a lot more, especially on those high danger chances. We need to capitalize on those. And we weren't able to gain a whole lot of momentum going into the second period. It was a pretty quiet second period between both teams until Elias Pettersson throws up his 10th goal of the season, which was just an absolute howitzer. He dashed past Fogle, who was just not forechecking hard enough. And then CC just kind of stood there and let Pettersson take an easy shot past Mikko Koskinen. Now, a lot of people were, critiquing Koskinen on the way that he was at the paint. Now, the way that Koskinen was positioned wasn't amazing, but I give it to Koskinen. Koskinen did do very good throughout this game. He kept us in, especially after the 2 big goals that he did give up. He kept us in the game, and he did pretty well to keep us in that game. To be completely honest with you, Koskinen kept us in the game. Even though, yes, we lit up the 2 first goals in the game, which, of course, once again, we lit in the first goal. We had to come back, which I don't like always doing. And I mean, this is once again a game where we allowed the first goal in once again. Even though the Canucks didn't deserve it, you know, shit happens. But the biggest thing that we got to stop doing is allowing the first goal. We are such a bad team at it, and especially if we are hypothetically going to make it in the playoffs, which I really don't have a belief that we are. The thing is, we got to stop letting in that first goal. If we're going to continue allowing that first goal in, we're just not going to make it out of the first round. We're going to get swept because we're not going to be able to battle back. You know, once a team takes that lead in the playoffs, it's very hard to get it back, harder than what it is in the regular season. And we cannot continue to allow that first goal in. It's been a topic of discussion throughout this entire season, and we continue to allow that first goal in. And then, of course, you know, Tyler Mott a few seconds later when we had a power play opportunity. McDavid had a wide open net. JT Miller blocked it. And then, you know, they took advantage of that. Mott had a breakaway, sniped it right through the 5-hole of Mikko Koskinen to give that Canucks a 2-0 lead, which definitely was not the start that we all imagined. Really was not. I was not liking the way that we were starting this game. And, you know, I thought we were playing all right, but definitely not to the shape that I wanted them to play. You know, we had some good opportunities. We had a lot of puck possession, just weren't able to capitalize on a lot of the chances that we did have. We also had a decent amount of power play opportunities. We just weren't able to capitalize on a lot of them. Now, going into the third period, we actually seen some depth scoring from Mr. Ryan McLeod. It was a nice pass from Chris Russell, sent at McLeod, who dashed down the middle and then got to the outside and just sniped it right past Spencer Martin, who was hugging the post, but he found that little gap in between and sniped it through the wickets. Spencer Martin giving us, you know, a really good chance of coming back into this game. During the live stream, I was saying, yeah, there's no chance that the Oilers are going to come back into this game. You know, the way that we were playing in the first and second period, we're showing that, you know, we deserved to win. We were getting chances. It's just we weren't putting anything in the back of the net. And I thought that we were going to get that Oilers luck where we just were going to get shut out by this guy named Spencer Martin, who, you know, making a second start is looking absolutely insane for the Canucks. So I just thought we were going to lose. Ryan McLeod scores a big one, and then Leon Draisaitl with a beautiful setup pass by Nuge. Now, this was a good power play by the Oilers. We were getting lots of opportunities, just wasn't able to bury any of them. Martin was robbing Draisaitl on one tees. He was just robbing them every chance that we had. The Spencer Martin was just stepping up big time. Until Leon Draisaitl got set up by Nuge, who was absolutely having a game. He was just playing amazing for the Edmonton Oilers. Set up Leon Draisaitl for his 29th goal of the season, and it was an absolutely beautiful goal, tying the game up at 2. Now, nothing really happened. The Oilers were generating a lot of opportunities. We were getting a lot of good chances, and then we head into overtime, where we just continued to pour on the offense. We were just peppering shots. We had 9 shots during that overtime until Darnell Nurse had a chance. He turned it over, dashed up with Connor McDavid, a little bit of a 2-on-1, set up Connor McDavid. He shuffled it right into the back of the net, and the Edmonton Oilers finally won a game where they actually deserved to win. And McDavid actually broke his little bit of a drought of not being able to score a goal as he got his 20th goal of the season, and it was a beautiful goal, finally giving the Edmonton Oilers a huge old W. And it was a game where I was actually happy to win and not sad to win, or, you know, that we lost. It was a W. Finally a W where we actually won the game and played a pretty good game, to be completely honest with you. Now, there's still a lot of weaknesses to point out. You know, we're still very weak defensively, and you could see that. You know, Keith and CC were struggling defensively, but they weren't doing that bad offensively. I thought Keith had probably one of his better offensive nights. He was doing not that bad. Defensively, I thought he was pretty weak. Nurse and Bouchard weren't actually that bad. They were playing a whole lot of minutes, but they were probably one of our best defensive pairings throughout the entire night. Russell and Cuckoo, I didn't think they did too bad defensively. They gave up a couple good chances, though, where they could have capitalized, but Mikko Koskinen stood tall. Keith and CC, they gave up a lot of opportunities, but generated a decent amount of opportunities, so they kind of canceled each other out. But, that's the biggest thing. That's still one of my biggest talking points, is that we definitely need to, improve ourselves defensively. And it's still definitely a big weak part of this team, is that we're still very weak defensively. And it's definitely a point that we need to fix majorly right now, or we're just, continuing to be a bad team. We need a top four defenseman to improve that top four. We can't continue to have Duncan Keith playing 22 minutes of ice time, because we can see that ice time, given the amount of ice time, is starting to weaken Duncan Keith. The more ice time you give him, the worse that he plays, especially defensively, that you could even see. His foot speed is the most important part of Duncan Keith's game. Once his stamina goes down, his game goes down. And I think Keith plays great offensively. He was passing that puck amazing throughout the night. He was making some really smart plays, not giving away the puck a whole lot. I thought he was playing an alright game, just not that great defensively. Moving on, though, the forward core I thought was playing amazing. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid, and Yamamoto, I thought that line was amazing. They had a really good night, generated a lot of opportunities. McDavid I didn't see a whole lot of, but Yamamoto and RNH was just playing amazing. They were generating a lot of opportunities. McDavid finally got a goal in overtime, which was amazing to see. The second line between Foegele, Draisaitl, and Puljujarvi, I wasn't too big of a fan of Foegele throughout the night. He wasn't terrible, but he was probably one of the worst guys part of that line. He just wasn't phenomenal. And then Puljujarvi and Draisaitl I thought were amazing. Puljujarvi did a lot of good things out there. Draisaitl was just a beast. He had 11 shots in the night. He was generating a whole lot of chances, and he was just all over the ice throughout the entire night. Deserved probably like 50 goals throughout that entire night, but Spencer Martin just continuing on rob him. Perlini, McLeod, Cassian, I don't know why we continue playing on Cassian. He just did not look very good. He was, kind of there at moments at times, but just wasn't really there a whole lot. McLeod played really good for that big goal. He was not that bad. And Perlini, he wasn't terrible either. Generated a few opportunities, but not too much. Skeevier, Ryan, and Shore, I don't know why we continue to play Shore. He is just an absolute bum out there, and Benson should be in the lineup, and I do not know why we play Shore over Benson. It just absolutely blows my mind why we continue to play Shore, because he's good at, PK, which he's absolutely not. Mika Koskinen played all right. I want to see Stuart Skinner a little bit more, though. I'd rather see him play over Koskinen, because we're overplaying Koskinen once again. You could definitely see that. So I hope we do play Skinner against Nashville, because Nashville is going to be a pretty tough team to play against. They're definitely, Edmonton's never played good against Nashville. We probably, one of the scariest teams to go up against in this Western Conference is the Nashville Predators, especially for the Oilers. Just the way that the Nashville Predators play, they always seem to shut us down. So we'll have to see. Will John Haynes outcoach Dave Tippett? We'll have to see. And for right now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. The game was great. Finally, we got to see a big old W. But the thing is, the Vancouver Canucks were very weak in the lineup. So we'll have to see how well the Oilers play against the Vancouver Canucks tomorrow. Not the Vancouver Canucks, the Nashville Predators on Thursday. But for right now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.